went a little quicker because I knew it was coming in some way. So it must be lagging behind myself. Oh, a little forward there. Body's not moving. Very simple. Sometimes I like to HUD postures. It seems easier. It's like, okay, if I HUD this one, it'll be safe. This is the safe spot. And then eventually get to a place where it's like, oh, maybe it's safer for me to allow myself the movement that happens most naturally. And so it can be difficult, to allow oneself to move, to see that you don't have to speak. Ah, you see, I've been talking. It's the motion of the body that creates the voice. It's crazy how the motion of the body does create the voice. I can't believe I lost this. It's funny. I must get focused on some point of something, too much leaning in one direction. But I focus on what I'm looking at too much, not soft enough, then locked in. Now, it cannot be bad. Sometimes it's really good to do this. Um, it just depends what's happening. And time in practice is important. And so for me, I go deeper now into practice, deeper now into being really. It's not practice as in a training because I'm already out of the way there. So it's just going into it is all the way there for longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. And so this is what meditation will build for you. You do it 30 minutes a day, you do it an hour a day, you do it 2 hours a day, you do it 3 hours a day. Maybe one day you do it for your whole life and you never leave meditation. That is the place to start in a good way for some. But everybody is different. For myself, I already knew the meditation that was life. I was here now. And so I could move around. I see it to be very centering and balancing. But to not be able to use your voice in honesty is going to be very difficult. But if you can come into your breath, it'll be easier. Your breath will eventually allow you to feel the voice. And that's where the light language comes in. Which then, when you're seeing that light language coming through, you're not doing, eventually your awareness comes to understanding that your mouth is not doing. And you don't have to control that either. There's a lot of really amazing things that come through, but a lot of understandings that need to be known by one. You could conceptualize this knowledge. You could say, hey, I know this guy said. But we must all have our own direct experience. It must well up from within us. And if we have an inability to have the lotus bloom, the Buddha Dharma has taught us already what causes the lotus to bloom on its own. And that is coming into the alignment with the Bodhisattva's intention. To be here for the benefit of all beings everywhere without one exception, until all beings everywhere here are free from suffering and have entered into nirvana or liberation, freedom from suffering, from samsara, which is illusion, duality, which is not true, which is not. It's illusion of the mind created by each one of our stories for good purpose. But we can share awareness. When people come into awareness with what is true, actually come into direct focus, they can become free from their suffering. Now, when we align with this intention to be with all of the heart, for all of the heart, for entire everything, then we will be as the frequency of the heart. And so that is why the heart blooms at that time, because we are there as it, and we have matched it, we have embodied its frequency. And so as the law of attraction, we have become that thing in which we wish to have. And so forth it comes. It's a very powerful thing, this. And it's something that we must really be willing to dedicate ourselves. We'll see if we return to our world and to our old way, that it will not be possible. So attachment must be lost in some way. Otherwise, we cannot move forward. Attachment to family, to friends, it seems a terrible thing to lose. I understand love is very beautiful. It's ignorant compassion, as many dharmas tell you, to treat your attachments as poisons, as they are this. not just for you, but those things and also you are attached to, because this is the perpetuation of all suffering, this attachment, this grasping, this desire for another to be with you, or for anything outside of your present moment, for whatever reason or purpose or idea. This attachment that you need this thing or this thing or this thing or that thing or that thing or that thing, you see. Your pure awareness does not have this attachment, and so these things are stories of the mind, as I read, have paraphrased into my own dialogue from a Rinpoche the other day. Very beautiful. So you become free of these things, easy. I come deeper into softening as I relax. Find myself not having to move so quick. Find that it's all about just being in tune all the way with myself. What motion started it, what rhythm, what flow. You don't have to be fast, you can be slow. You can be anything, but you can be full. All the way with yourself. It's interesting to learn about oneself. We're amazing animals. Really phenomenal, perfect at everything, completely in tune with the moment, 100% balanced with it. And the other reason why we can't be that way all the time is because we're fractaling ourselves with our consciousness the way we've agreed with different ideas. Not because we're evil or wrong, but just because it was the song. It was what we were meant to do for the time in which we were moving and benefit for everything. When we can release judgment of ourselves and others, we can see this very easily. See that, oh my goodness, we're not doers in that way. Everybody has been given a story to read, and they've read it perfectly. And so, as we read ours perfectly and see the great perfection, we can share that reflection. But we have no need to do this, as this is forced to. And we have no need not to do this, because that would be forced as well. So there's a great balance in one's natural state and authenticity that happens quite easily, actually. But you have to be willing to do it. You see the things that take you away from yourself when you start to do your thing. And then you start to see how you can't get away from them, because that's also force. And you then think, oh, what's happening here? And then everything comes to come into some harmony, some non-separate pressureless focus, this place of fixation, but not this fluid place of formless form. It's a very interesting thing. Precision, harmony, fine-tuning to the moment. It was hard for me to sing with other things for a while. It was hard for me to remember harmony. I wanted to make my loud song. I wanted to prove myself, show myself in some way. But there's a harmony occurs, and you can write it, and then you always see your perfect timing. Maybe you want it to be a certain way, this way, that way, or whatever way. But there's a way that it already is happening naturally. And it's actually, we have a great availability of phenomenal expression always available to us, because we are limitless consciousness. There are ways in which we keep ourselves in boxes and shells and forms, in kind of restraints that won't allow us to move all the way. And these are attacks and defenses on our own self. And we can see it by how we simply respond to any stimuli around us, any action, event, experience, how it causes us unsettling in our consciousness, causes us triggering. We think something's causing us triggering because somebody is sending an evil thing into us, but no, it is our own consciousness. There's no reason for anything to cause us triggering. Everything can be moving in the way that it is with us, in harmony and benefit. Everything always is here for our benefit in great perfection as enlightened action, and as are we so too also. And so we can come to see this easy. It can be difficult sometimes. Difficult to come into alignment. Difficult when we're not used to it, because we're so used to suppressing ourselves that we don't know how to express ourselves. Express our emotions. Shogam Trungpa Rinpoche would say they're great, really amazing. There's a fullness to them. There's a balance brought to us when we're allowed, when we're able. So we sit on the ground of our consciousness, on the ground of the earth, on our pure awareness. Very easy. I thought I would maybe show you something today. I would go through many different flows, and perhaps I will leave the camera on for these different flows that I'm bring myself to be a part of at this time. But maybe not. Maybe I won't show you anything that would bring you into a form of training. It is effortless and simple. That is almost really all you need to know. If you're having effort and if it is not simple, relax and find simpler. And even finding simpler is like, just relax. Move from there. In fact, if you don't need to relax, then don't. Just do whatever you do. Or don't. You're going to have no choice but to do what you're doing, though. So, as silly as that not statement was, whatever. Ah. So, yeah, very beautiful things have been coming through. Into different step flows. You see, there's so much control with the stuff. You have to really just trust yourself completely, and you're really just not doing it. You are moving, and you are the thing doing it, though. So it's a really interesting point in posturing when you come to the forefront of your consciousness. You're completely present with yourself, and so it's happening. But that's it. You're completely present with yourself. You don't have to control the breath. You don't have to control the body. You don't have to control any of it. You don't have to watch it a particular way. You don't have to smell it a particular manner. You don't have to keep a certain facial expression or posture. You don't have to not either. So it's just this thing of like naturalness. And for people who aren't so strange as me as to have experienced so much contrast, you already experience this naturalness very easily. I mean, you probably have never experienced yourself doing anything but this. And so being so fine-tuned to the moment, it's just simply allowing yourself to move. And maybe if you're trying to allow yourself to move, you want to watch it and observe it. You're like, well, what about this? What about this? And that's good. You could do that. I recommend moving with all your body. You'll move from your center. But maybe this would be very difficult for somebody who is not knowing. But as I do anything but this, it seems like all the other things are trainings and they're not very helpful. I mean, training's cool and all, but then you think that your muscles need to become strong, and you think you need to stretch to become flexible, and you think you need to do many things, but you don't. So, in every way, the training to me is showing me that I don't believe in myself and I don't realize who I am, or I don't move in a manner that establishes that in all actions in my life. So I move in a way that's less than me, or a way that's dissonant to me, or a way illusory to who I am actually. And so instead, every time I move in a way, I force to just relax myself. And then I move in a way I'm not forced. I've found this in myself through many amazing experiences, going through the layers of consciousness, understanding the great tree of life, culture and religion, and the mother, and what we could call the father, as I said before, and an enlightened mind, and so many layers of enlightened mind that bring sturdying to this possibility. I'm unsure if it'd been extremely necessary or not for everybody to do the same as I. I think that it will be much faster processes for those who have the sturdying awareness of somebody who has showed them that yes, what you're experiencing is true. In some way, these videos were aimed originally at, and maybe others that were experiencing these things. Aware that maybe others will watch this that have not experienced these things, become more full to show us many root teachings that bring this through. And even after you come into this, you come through huge embodiments of understanding of how that relates, not only to yourself now and your body, but how you relate now with all of consciousness. And consciousness will need to be your teacher. You need to be able to read the book of life. When Remy Fasolatito came in, she was already a good reader of the book of life. And together we read the book of life. And for every day. And so she's set in tone. It's natural for her to remember herself now. It would be very unnatural for her to not. So in some way it's like a deprogramming, a detraining, and allowing yourself to really just be and see the amazing perfection unfold before your eyes and follow. It can be very difficult to to follow one's own heart. It's very difficult. Everybody's there with their own heart. They come in touch with it. They come in touch with my teaching. Come in touch with the truth. They have to leave their stories. They have to empty cups. It's what they believe they know. It's not true. They don't know what I know, But I point to them at a precise truth. So in that taint your view. The heart of us all is the center of us all, is the seat of pure awareness. Surrounds us all around us. We sit within our own heart. We are all each other's heart. Guru Rinpoche realized this to be a play of one's own mind. I realized it to be a play of my heart. And in Tibetan Buddhism, it turns out that mind is heart. I did not know this. Even after somebody told me I had awakened my mind, I did not realize. For some reason, every time somebody says mind, I forget that it's heart. But the body is the brain in Tibetan Buddhism. And theirs is the greatest wisdom I've ever seen written on earth. Hebrew culture shared the layer of theirs, so I have not seen much of it, but they must have great truth as well. It must be why their tree of life sits on both of my wrists. Powerful is this symbol. It felt like it opened in me when I married my energies, so I trust these two cultures. These two great religions of the world that lead us to the tree of truth beyond the framework of these skins and these fleshes, of these cultures, of these religions, of these ideas, of these forms. Formlessness is boundless. Amazing, the pixelated, enlightened mind consciousness giggling is all in every one of us, moving us as we are through the conglomeration of the amazing, phenomenal, immaculate compassion, wisdom, frequency of phenomenal, divine light, embodied unity of emptiness, vast, limitless emptiness. Ourself, how we express here now, the karma of life, everything, all enlightened mind moving us as we are this enlightened mind. There's not a separation. There are different layers in which to see, different places in which to pass, different veils in which to lift, many experiences in which to attain the rites of passages. We warn those of ignorance and arrogance. Be sad for you to mislead yourself. Be very honest and very true. It's very simple. Authenticity, transparency, honesty. Help us always. Just center on who we are. Exactly as we are. We don't have to be annoying. We don't have to know any more than what we do. We don't have to say we know what we don't. We don't have to not do things. But we can see what will bring us to greater benefit. As the contrasts show us the center of our focus, we can see from the far left and the far right where to go. Down the middle path, the fine-tuned harmony to the moment, where we sing with everyone, not having to sing our song too loud or too soft, but just matching, seeing how beautiful it is to have unity with all of ourselves. When we think of somebody else and somebody we're in competition with, it can be difficult this. We know it is ourself. The Buddha embodied the greatest of our wisdom teachers is easy. And no, we do not have to harmonize with all of them. We harmonize with ourselves and we see that we are harmony. We need not attempt it. We simply allow ourselves to be our most natural way. And we are already perfect. And so when you come into tune with yourself, precision with yourself, to know yourself, to learn yourself, to come into yourself, you find that you're always on time. Not always. So you can release your fight, your judgment. And you can see how it brings settling to all of consciousness. And that you get to learn of yourself and your beautiful blooming lotus, which blooms for eternity. And so you have plenty to keep your focus and interest upon. And it feels the greatest, because when you're with yourself, you feel so full. While you're empty, the moment brings to you an orchestra, a symphony of frequencies for your upliftment. And you can experience it, and all can experience too, and you need not worry and control it. You're just being free as the children do in the trees with the birds and the bees, wherever it is you please. You're free, and you're allowed to be. And when you allow yourself to be, you see everything is allowed to be. And great peace happens naturally. You don't have to hold on to it. It lives with you as it is you. Great blessings is you. Great blessings to you all. Aho, namaste, as they say. Takiyasin, yeah. Maybe you'll have fun in the future. Maybe Ray will show you great art, dances, and frequencies of her authentic, unique being that is free and fully self-sustained. No attacking, no defense. She's the greatest. She can allow herself to be, and everybody is also this, in equanimity, in your unique and diverse ways. And because of her, I've been able to see and soften and come to subtlety and centering into effortlessness as I was there with it. I could not see it so sweet, so innocent, so beautiful, but now I see in her. She gave me a great gift. May I give it to you all. May you all be free. All of us entirely. Thank you always. And I say may, whatever. You are free. Go ahead and be whatever you wish. Do is whatever you wish. You're amazing. You're everything. You need not identify. You say, oh, I'm amazing. And then you're like, oh, but what about now? What about now? What about now? You simply are, you see. And what you are is the most amazing thing to anybody to behold. My goodness. And so much more, so full. Emptiness is fullness, you see. We keep ourselves full with things that we think are greater than being empty, but you see, what you are actually, you can release all those forms. And allow yourself finally to breathe without control, to be without control, to be free without control. Your great purpose, what is? Here now. It says, no, you're not going to do anything. No, you're going to do great things. I'd show you many great things right now if it wasn't so forceful. And I love myself as I am, slow or fast, anything. Before I thought I had to be a certain way, and then I had agitation. I thought I wasn't right in the way I was, and I had agitation. So I rest and center, and then now it's easy. Easy to be me, however I am. What am I? This moment, the breath, what? Amness, isness, emptiness, fullness. This, that, perfection, bliss. The moment is, just release it all. Identity, definition, need to define anything, to balance upon that thing, the sentence, the scene. Can be interesting, this quieting. Never said so quietly. No need to show quiet, it's alright. Just be. Just be. Showing quiet's an ego. I thought maybe I'd be like Muji. I was like, okay, really? Here we go. It's much more natural. Maybe Muji is like this. It's much more natural thing, I could hold his silence. I don't any form, really. Show anything. What do I feel most like doing? How do I think it's most easy for me to be? I mean, how are you always with your friends? Oh, goodness gracious. My foot, what happened? It's numb. And then I stretched it a little too far because I was talking about it. I had a little focus. No problem. Oh, it can be tough to be strange. Be a strange person. Holding firm is easier, I guess. Seems like it hurts everybody who does it though. The many meditators, they got to hurt knees. What if you could become the most flexible person in the world immediately? Would you do it? What if there's reasons why we're not able to be human? And those reasons are simply the mind. How do we come to find? The moment. Hmm, sure. Then we might want to hold it. I mean, here we are now. How do you form it? Does that have to be a contrast to your form? Could you be formless? Could you hold form even if you're formless, or would you only be formless? What is formless? What is form? Well, form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Relaxing has been nice, but relaxing in motion, this has been very nice. Relaxing is sitting like this. It's fun. When I go very fast, it's easy to go slow. So for me, it's about stretching out myself all the way. There's ways to do this, but there are ways you cannot do this. And so I saw from my brother, he was unable